Had a couple questions here thrown my way about the channel lately. First one is from Mr. Mark Lowe's, and he wanted to know about a stallion, keeping a stallion, and what my advice is. Kept the stallion from the time I was about, I don't know, 11, 12 years old until the horse lived forever. I don't know, until I was in my 30s. And pretty good stud, Percheron stud, Dr. Rock. I just had his pedigree up the other day. Maybe I'll insert some of the names here. But I know he went back to Fury's Rock and Prince's Chief, and I can't remember. Hell, I can't remember people's bloodlines, say nothing about horses. That's one of the first things I'd tell you about a stud is to make sure he's perfect. Make sure he's got the right conformation. Don't overlook anything just because you like him or you like his color or something like that. And then make sure he's got the breeding that carries the good conformation. And, you know, if you're going to keep a stud, make sure you got one that's popular. You know, if red Belgians with a white mane and tail are popular, that's the kind of stud you ought to have, you know, with a blaze. If gray Percherons are the fashion right now, get a gray Percheron if you're into Percherons. Or if black ones with a white star, go for that. But that means a lot. That's, people are going to breed to you when you follow that trend. Yeah, make sure he's got the pedigree and the conformation. Don't overlook anything. You don't want to be passing down inferior genes. And then you got to breed good mares, of course. My dad always recommended to treat a stud a little more like a bull as far as selection. Look at the stud's prodigy. That tells you a lot more about the stud than the stud itself. My dad's stud didn't hit 17 hands. It didn't matter if you bred him to a halflinger, that foal was going to hit 17 hands and close to 1,900 pounds. Just the way that stud was made. And boy, he passed down some good conformation. Elvis is a grandson to that stud. Our old Libby mare's a daughter to that stud. There's still a few around, actually, sons and daughters of him. Hey, Elvis. I'd recommend if you keep a stud, work the damn thing. Put a harness on him and work him. Keep a good disposition. As well as disposition's concerned, don't overlook that in the purchase of a stud. Get a stud that has is stylish, but he still has you know, it's kind of a heads up, and you know he's a stud, and he looks masculine, and he looks like a stud, but he behaves when you tell him. That's what you're looking for. All that said, those kind of horses aren't hanging off from trees. You know, the woods aren't full of them. You're gonna have to put some miles on a truck to find one, and you're gonna have to spend some money to get the right one. But anyway, working him, yeah, have him broke to work. There's no reason a stud shouldn't work. It's healthier for him. He'll breed better. He'll behave better. All the above. Even if you like competition, you know, there's been lots of good pulling horses that are studs. My dad used to put his stud in some hitches. I'm going to insert a picture here of him in a tandem hitch one time that they won. My dad and Harold Fair put Dad's team in there that day. You know, the basic stuff, have a good solid stall where he can't get loose, he can't hurt your geldings, that kind of stuff. It's even better if you have a good place to turn him out, even if it's alone, but give him lots of turnout. I'll tell you what I'm seeing a lot in some of these modern studs on some of these farms, they're not getting enough turnout. And some of them, it's showing up. They're not breeding, and they're just not getting enough exercise. And then take care of that stud the way you'd take care of any horse. The way you should take care of any horse. I mean, don't let his feet get long. Don't, you know, not brush him off. Don't let him get thin. Take care of that stud the right way. If you've got the right, a horse that's good enough to be a stallion, treat him with the dignity he deserves. Yeah, I can't think of a lot else. I'm not the world's most experienced guy at the stud. I've thought about keeping a stud a few times. I don't have enough land to have enough mares. And if you don't have mares, why keep a stud? I've never had more than a few mares at a time here. And there's some pretty good studs around this area. Not far from here, there's a son of CD Rock that I use. There used to be a son of Boggs Creek Rocky that I use. Used to be a son, Elvis's dad, a son of CD Rock, not far from here. A couple good Percheron studs around. There's always some good ones around for me. I don't like messing with outside mares. The liability scares me. I mean, it's one thing if my horse, gets into trouble and drops dead, but it's another thing if yours does when he's here, and that just terrifies me. And then I don't know, I like to keep people happy, and what if I don't keep you happy, when your mare's here? But that's about where I stand on studs. I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking of, and ask a breeder. We're going to have a video coming up real soon with Abe Alaback. Ask Windermere Farms. Ask Gerald Alaback. Ask Corbley Orndorff and Christine. Ask somebody who keeps studs. They've got the advice. They really know where it's at. The other question came from Lori from Wisconsin. And Lori and some of her friends want to do some plowing at the Percheron World Congress upcoming, and wanted some advice on contest plowing. And again, I'm not vastly experienced in contest plowing. I go to the Michigan Great Lakes International show, and the last 3 years I went out there, and we enter in the horse pull and the plowing contest. I enter in 2 divisions of the plowing contest: ride and plow, which is usually a borrowed plow because I just don't have enough room to trailer everything, and the walk and plow contest. And first thing I would recommend to anybody, don't be intimidated. I mean, even if you're not great at plowing, don't be intimidated to go to a contest. It's going to be a friendly atmosphere. Everybody's there to help. Nobody's going to pick on you. They're going to give you some great advice. If you're not plowing the right pattern, they're going to help you out. They probably even help you with some adjustments and settings, and you're going to really enjoy it. I have a great time when I go out to that one. We don't have many contests around here. And anyway, that's the only one I go to. As far as the actual rules of the contest, there's a lot. Well, let's go with the basics. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, we have it laid out right in front of us here. The plot that you plow for a pair of horses, single bottom plow, is 25 feet wide by 100 feet long. And we lay that plot out. Now, within that plot, you start over here. Well, you start on whichever side you want. We're plowing with right-hand plow. We're going to start over here right by Elvis. That orange stake. 3 furrows in. And we start with a crown furrow, an opening furrow. We make a trip all the way down, turn around, and make a trip all the way back. And that is our opening furrow, our crown furrow. And then we go twice more around for a total of 3 times around that. The last furrow, you should be close to that outside boundary, but never over it. They're strict on that, the judges are. Close to that boundary, but not over the boundary. So err on the side of being a little farther away, From there, so what you did the opening crown furrow, down and back, 2 more trips around, a total of 3 trips around there. Then you go to the opposite side. In our case, it's going to be the right-hand side, the east side in this plot. And you go all the way up through and you open up a new furrow, just like the other side. You don't want to flip your ground out of your plot. You want to keep that ground close to the edge, but inside your plot. You don't want to go into the neighbor's field, is what they always say. And then you stop at the other end, and you come back that furrow you already made, and you just keep going back and forth until you fill it in, and you end with a dead furrow, where the two furrows come together, and you clean that up and you end up with a dead furrow. And that's essentially it. Now within that, you are judged on the crown furrow, that's your opening furrow, the depth of your plowing, should be half as deep as wide. This is a 14-inch plow we're using today. We should be doing we should be 7 inches deep. A 12-inch plow should be 6 inches deep. You're judged on the straightness of your furrows. You should, going down on each side, they can really tell, and it should be a straight line. Usually that's the only thing beginners know to judge on, is how straight a furrow is. That's part of it, but that's not everything. But that is part of the judging. And then you want uniform furrows, so which generally means they're all, 14 inches wide and 7 deep on a 14-inch plow, or 12 inches wide and 6 inches deep on a 12-inch plow. And then you'll have level, even furrows. Your crown furrow might be a little taller. They judge on how well you cover, which means how well you flip this ground under, and so there's no green or corn stalks or whatever you're plowing under, so there's nothing showing. That's judged. Your dead furrow that you finish with is judged. We're probably going to struggle with that here in this little video we're doing today, because we need a new share on this. And Nick grabbed the new point for us, and that was more worn out than the old one. I got to go stop somewhere and buy one. But anyway, your dead furrow, how even the ends are, where you stop and finish at the end of your plowing. You want that to be even. Fact of the matter is, I struggle with that. I always end up, the one, when you put a plow in the ground, it takes a couple feet for it to go in the ground. And then when you pull a plow out of the ground, it takes a couple feet for it to come out of the ground. And I'm not as neat and even on the ends as I should be. You're judged on horsemanship, how well you handle your horses, how well they look, how good they behave, how sound they are, that kind of stuff. That factors in. And you don't know, there's probably other factors I'm not thinking about, but generally that's it. That's a bunch of the rules, and there's a lot of them, but don't let that intimidate you. They're pretty straightforward, and a lot of it's no different than field plowing. So we're going to get started. I have my plot laid out, 25 feet wide by 100 feet long. I believe those are the measurements. I could be wrong on that, but I thought it was 50 feet wide, and I laid out 50 feet. I said, geez, no, that's that's not it. So I think it's 25 feet wide. I have marked 3 furrows in where I have this orange stake right here. That's where I'm going to start plowing from one end to the other. I'm actually a little more than 3 furrows in, because as I said, you want to get close to the edge, but you don't want to be over the edge. So I guess we're going to plow this plot of land. Now let's introduce the horses. A pair of 6-year-olds, Baby Elvis, 3/4 Belgian, 1/4 Percheron. And his teammate today is Sailor, Rusty Vanetten's 6-year-old. Both of these horses are a little over 1,900. They're probably near 1,950 for weight. And they're going to shed a little weight, and they're both going to be lightweights here as the season goes on. Pretty good team of horses. I love working this pair together. They're both geldings. If we're talking about stallions, coincidentally, both their dads were stallions. Can you believe that, Nick? Both of them, their dads were stallions.
Yeah.
Your dad was a stud. Yeah? Ah, you don't like to joke about that? So I'm going to head up to that first stake and get my point in the ground and start. You probably better wait a minute. Watch out. Woo. Woo. Well, we did some plowing over in the real field, the corn stubble this morning, the corn ground. And the horses were acting superb. I can't guarantee that's going to happen here this afternoon when we're trying to do a little contest plowing, but we'll see. They're pretty good boys, but you know how it is. They act good all day, and then the camera comes on, or, you know, time for a contest, and they don't act as well. Nick, I'm going to have you walk up to that second stake, and when I get close, pull it, and then walk up to the third stake. Good boys. Now they're behaving a little better. Nick, I'm blaming the horses for not behaving. You know what the old saying about that is?
What?
It's a poor musician who blames his instrument. Ooh. All right, we're gonna turn around, then we're gonna go up through, and we're gonna do that outside furrow. Well, we're not plowing as bad as it looks. That crown furrow sure made a mess of us. That's about 14 inches wide and nearly 7 inches deep. We're fairly close to this outside line. I told you to err on the side of caution. I erred a little too much on the side of caution. I should have put it right out there at right around 40 inches, and I would have been just spot on. Instead, I went closer to like 44. Whoa. We're gonna measure in from that outside boundary 2 furrow widths. And we're gonna try to plow up that boundary and get close to the edge, but not over it. And I think I gotta slow the damn things down so we don't do what we did on that opening furrow. So we have a 14-inch plow, 28 inches. It'll be 2 furrow widths if we did it right. We'll give ourselves a little leeway. Let's go with like 31 inches. So I'm gonna have Nick set that up, and I did want to point out we're right here by the road. The old farmer saying is anything stupid that happens to you happens right near the road, and here it is. We got double whammy, Nick. We're right near the road and we're on camera. But yeah, Nick, go ahead and set those stakes up 31 inches. Set some Get up, you wretch. Put that on there. Woo! Nick, when it rains, it pours. I can't do anything right. Get it. Woo. Gee. Whoa. I made an absolute ass of myself plowing that. Everything was such a mess. I don't even know how much of it I'm gonna edit out and leave on there. Maybe just for kicks we'll edit a couple, leave a couple in there where I'm swearing at the horses. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do after a mess like that. Put this plow right on the stone boat, and we're gonna head right back to that field with really long bouts. We're gonna straighten these dudes up and get them walking decent and acting like they knew something instead of that. Now, with that said, that's not all the horse's fault. I sure could have done a lot better. You know, when I lost my cool, then the horses follow suit. That's what happens. Could have had a sharp point on here and I could have cleaned a dead furrow up, but I didn't, you know. And it's not easy plowing either. I mean, like I said, hadn't been plowed in forever. And of course it's right next to the road where everybody's gonna see it all year. Maybe I'll get a big set of discs out here and disc it up and pretend I didn't do it. Well, not the first time I made a fool of myself on camera. Probably won't be the last. We'll show some of this. If you can't plow any better than that, you better stay home. At least it was here at home, not at a show. Well, Nick, get me hooked onto the stone boat and we'll keep on trucking. There's Zodiac and Nick. Zodi's getting worked single. Got an odd number of horses we're keeping worked right now, 5. So we're working 2 teams and 1 single. Kind of switch them up all the time, so it's always somebody different. Right now we got, whoa, big butts. There, zoom them out a little. Elvis and Jim. And we're back on the plowing. Now this is about 5 minutes after we just did that little plot of plowing where I made an absolute fool of myself and nothing went right. We're back out here gonna do a little plowing. And shit, we didn't go 10 feet and this team got settled in and started acting decent. It wasn't so much a team. Yesterday's video was about feel and how much pressure and keeping your nerves and all that when you're working horses. And I think what I just showed you is an example of bad feel. And maybe I got a little rough, maybe I got a little angry. I let things get out of hand, and the plow wasn't plowing good. The ground turned hard. I can think of a lot of excuses, but I could have handled it all better. So anyway, Nick, film us plowing a little bit and prove to the people that we aren't absolute fools. Well, nobody thinks you are. They just think I am. Taylor's a little mouthy right now, but he won't go too far and he gets over it. So we're plowing pretty good here. We're behaving pretty well here. And this is a little more tricky than that sod in the regard that the horse on the land likes to follow the corn rows, and that doesn't always follow the plowing. Woo! But really the contest plowing's not a lot different. We did an opening furrow, we did a dead furrow, we opening furrow there. We're gonna work toward a back furrow or a dead furrow. You know, we got a plowed furrow up along the outside on each side. You know, contest plowing's pretty well relative to real field plowing. Elvis, stand up. Elvis, stand up. Whoa. Shouldn't let him get away with that stuff, and I didn't. But, well, we're going to leave you be with that. So, Lori, I appreciate the question and the support. Hope you learned from my mistakes. Hope I explained something for you. And what was the name we were going to remember? Mr. Mark Lowe's. Hope I answered something about stallions. I'm going to put a picture of a few of my favorite stallions in here. I'll put a picture of my dad's stud up here. Some of the more modern ones that I breed too and I enjoy. I don't have any good pictures, but a couple of my favorite old timers. I'm going to paste them right in here. And appreciate everybody's support, and go ahead and laugh at me for making a fool of myself on that plot of plowing we laid out. But I deserve it. And give me credit for having enough balls to post a video where I made a fool of myself. So, well, it's too late to plow gardens. That's what the old timer said after any chore was chored. Too late to plant oats. Too late to cultivate corn. Whatever they just got done, it was too late for it. So we got the garden plowed up here. Not a bad looking little plot. Should grow something good. Now it's time for us to go home and cut logs, our other job, and hook horses, our other job. Well, I guess we'll piece together a video out of this and some other footage, and we'll show some plowing. Thank you. Just like I did back there. Doesn't take much. Right here I want to be plowing real narrow to make up for my earlier mistake. When I get up by you, I'll try to make it plow wider.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure how you made the plow stay where it was supposed to. I wasn't sure.
It's a matter of like suction.
Yeah.
If I pull on, see how I made it wider by pushing on the right handle?
Okay, your nest is over there. boys. Yeah, they're starting to work pretty good.
Now it's looking good.
Say what?
Looking good now.
Yeah.
We're really deep.
Like I was telling Nick, we're having trouble with grubs out here. I don't see any.
What's that?
We're having trouble with grubs. White grubs.
Oh. Yeah, we're plowing plenty deep. This plow's a lot easier than it does back home. I don't really want to change a lot because we'll be back home in less than an hour. Plowing, you know. Well, we got Rusty Vanetten's team, a Mage and Sailor, and we're plowing a garden plot with this team for our neighbors. You'll notice I got halters under the bridles, which I usually don't. That's because we trailered them up here. Unusual for me, I had harnesses, bridles, and everything on them, but we only came 1.25 miles up the road. I wouldn't leave the bridle on to go any further than that. But we're doing an okay job plowing, and we'll get this done, and the folks can get their food in for next winter. Good boy. Good boy. When it looks like I'm only plowing 6 inches wide, I'm actually plowing at least 12 because it goes to here, not that wheel, you know. That wheel is set in about 6 inches. The best wheels are right under the beam instead of off to the side. Heck, I wish we had this ground at home.
Yeah.
Whoop, no hand.
Mustard, I think. Well, that's wild, though.
Ooh, I wish George Brown was still around to see this on his old farm. He'd have got a kick out of it.
Oh, yeah, like George Sr.
Yeah.
I guess you heard George Jr. heard about him. It's triple bypass.
kind of wide up here
Yeah.
because I'm coming to the edge in order to even it out, you know.
Oh well, at least the horses have to do the heavy pulling, and they were the ones that acted dumb. So. I'm not sure if that garden's perfect.
I hit a rock.
Perfect.
That was Jaboris part of the field right there. Few rocks right there, Nick.
Yeah.
Just like home. Plowing the garden, that's what today's video is about. Plowing the garden for a neighbors of ours. You'll notice we got halters under the bridles today because we hauled them in the trailer. Bridles and harnesses and everything. And normally don't do that, but we're about 1.25 miles away from home, so I didn't think there'd be any harm. And it's too far to drag a walking plow. Looks like we got a good job done, and they should be able to grow a nice garden plot here. I know that's what a lot of folks like to do with their team, is plow the garden. Time to go home and get some other work done.